Hey everybody, Captain K-Man coming at you sideways today. We're doing a new tutorial on AutoGate and SAM this time. We did an AutoGate tutorial a little over a year ago on YouTube, and that one we used Overlay Editor to put our AutoGates in place. That is obsolete now. That is no longer needed. It's actually harder doing it that way than the way that we're going to do it tonight. Everything tonight is done 100% completely in WED. That is the World Editor software for X-Plane 11. If you're not familiar with that and you want to start getting into the wonders of editing airports, just do a nice little Google search for WED X-Plane 11, and that should take you right to the developer's website. And you can download the latest stable or beta if you want to get crazy, if you want to get risky. You can get the latest and greatest beta. Basically, WED looks a little bit like this right here. This is kind of the interface here. I'm not here to teach you WED. I expect you to have a basic knowledge already. That's not the scope of this tutorial. So you need to already have some basic knowledge on WED. There are tons of fantastic tutorials on YouTube on how to get the most out of WEB. I believe, is it Jan Vogel? Something Vogel. He did a full set of tutorials from, starting from the basics all the way to advanced techniques and stuff like that. So I highly recommend you watch his videos to get a grasp on how WED works. Now we've chosen as our victim airport today. This is Drew Dwesky Designs Washington XP. We're going to basically tear the entire gate network apart on this airport and reassemble it back together using AutoGate and SAM. I'm only going to do a few AutoGates, just two. Should be enough to demonstrate to you guys how that works. The rest of this airport is going to end up being SAM. The whole thing will be SAM when I'm done working on it. For my personal needs, this is something that Drew Dwesky Designs, however you say their name, I can never pronounce it right. This is something that they kind of should have done with their sceneries already in X-Plane, but they've only started doing it on their newer sceneries, including their new Polish airports and their updated Polish airports, and I think Seattle XP has it in there already as well. So they kind of started everything with Seattle, and now they got to go back in time and do all this. So it's my hope eventually they will come back in here and AutoGate or SAM their own airport, and you guys will be happy with that. So feel free to follow along if you want to chew up your own Washington, D.C. Just be sure you make a backup copy of it before you start ripping things out. And this scenery is a little bit more difficult to work with than others just because of the sheer scope of it. Let me see if I can zoom out here without it crashing the desktop. One of the dangers of WED. Even with 64 gigs of RAM, this thing is still a giant sluggish pile of trash when you start zooming way out. So, but anyway, the Drew Dwesky Design scenery, as you can see, encompasses a very large section of the Washington, D.C. area. It's got tons of 3D models. This is all 3D modeling right here, all the downtown areas. They've got custom trees, forests and stuff placed everywhere, and there's also Air Force bases, helicopter landing pads on top of hotels, and all that other stuff in here. We went ahead and loaded all that stuff. You can see it right here: Andrews Air Force Base, College Park, Georgetown, all that stuff. But none of that stuff actually matters. I just put it in here because whenever I export the scenery out, I don't want to lose all these features from the original Washington XP airport data files, so I put them all back in so that when I do export this airport out, I will have all those features restored. The only thing that we're playing with right now is we are basically chewing up Washington, D.C. Ronald Reagan International Airport. We went ahead and imported in the AppDat file, and we've imported in both of the DSF tiles that compose this airport. And what we end up, when we put these tiles together, we get these two little folders here that kind of point to your the scenery, the DSF tiles that you brought in. You can turn those off and see that a lot of the airport just vanished right there. Over here, gets rid of all that. So however many tiles an airport spans across, that's ortho tiles for you guys that know about ortho. So there's two ortho tiles here that this airport actually kind of scrawls across. Well, not the airport itself. The airport's here, but the whole city kind of goes over into the other tile. But however many DSF files you have, that's how many you need to import here. So you can see here, that's the whole airport turned off, and there it is turned on. So the only thing that we're concerned with today, I've already fixed the rest of this airport for my own personal needs. I added all the missing gate parking spots. I moved the gates around, renumbered them, relabeled them however they should be, and I fixed all the World Traffic 3 networking on here for myself. Now, last step, we got to deal with gates. Now there's two different ways to do a moving jetway in the X-Plane 11 simulator, and you have your choice. You can either use AutoGate and SAM. Those are your two that you have to choose from. So we're going to demonstrate both today. This is a very good candidate airport for utilizing either or plugin. There's advantages and disadvantages to using both. I'll touch on a little bit of that here right now. The advantages of AutoGate. Now AutoGate is kind of outdated a little bit. Our scenery is continuing to get more and more advanced in X-Plane, but Marginal's plugin has not really improved in a long time. It just stays the same. The actual streamlined or baseline code doesn't really need to change that much. It does what it needs to do, but it would be nice to have some updated looking jetways with better graphics and all that other good stuff like that. Mr. X was kind enough to actually do a HD texture pack for the default jetways that come with AutoGate, which I did not install, so we're going to have the ugly looking default gates, but we can fix that later and figure it out. And somebody's calling me on my phone after hours, right in the middle of a tutorial. Of course they are. Go away, telemarketer, and I hope you die in a fire. Alright, moving on with ourselves. I ain't even editing that out of the tutorial. I'm gonna let the world know my wrath towards telemarketers calling after 6 p.m. Stupid telemarketer. Okay, AutoGate. So why is AutoGate? Why do you want to use AutoGate? SAM is so much better, quote unquote. That's the trumpet call you'll hear all over X-Plane, the X-Plane community, and I disagree. It's not better. It's just another tool. It is better in some things, but you know, it's a little more complicated to set up. Some people may not want to deal with it, but when we're done with tonight's tutorial, you will be a SAM Gate expert. So maybe you will prefer it. I know that developers they kind of prefer AutoGate. The one big disadvantage of SAM is the price tag for payware airports. If a developer wants to include SAM functionality in their airport and it is a payware product, they have to go to the website, the developers of SAM, and they have to pay a pretty hefty fee. I think it's around 200 euros, I think, for an airport license. That is a license that covers the usage of SAM at one payware airport. Just one. That is not an open license for the developer to install SAM at all their airports. So you can see it gets pretty expensive real quick for small developers. Big guys like Orbix and, you know, if Flightbeam ever came over, any of those big guys, they can afford it, you know, but it does take a pretty sizable chunk out of somebody's wallet. A developer basically has to give up 4 or 5 copies of their airport for free in order to pay off the cost of having the SAM plugin at their airport. AutoGate is 100% free. Let's see here. Well, that's probably one of AutoGate's biggest advantages. It's free, and its second biggest advantage probably is that it is much easier to install. There's not a whole lot to it once you get going. So coming down here, let's go over here. For AutoGate, you need to get the plugin here. Now, you should already have the actual plugin itself installed inside your Resources Plugins folder. This is the required plugin in order for any airport that is AutoGate capable to be able to utilize the jetways and access the moving animation system. So you get that right there. Now, if you are a developer, right here you have the development kit, and I already have that opened up over here. Right here, and I actually need to download a copy of this because I don't have the developer's kit, so I'm going to grab a copy of that real quick from Mr. Marginal. This has all of the library objects in it that are going to be necessary to install AutoGate. Now, alternatively, SAM is also located on xplane.org. You can also get it off the Threshold website. This is the latest version, 1.10, so you're going to have to do that. Of course, people are paging me on the website. Could you not page me on the website, people? Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. SAM is a little different. It comes with its own library also. And it also comes with the plugin. It's an all-in-one inclusive download here. Just be sure that you put the plugin for SAM in the actual resources plugin folder, and then the SAM_library folder goes into your custom scenery directory. And don't forget to add it to your scenery INI file, or else you're going to be scratching your head wondering why you don't see anything. So don't forget to do that. So once you have these products installed, you are ready to start laying down jetways. Now, AutoGate's a little bit different because AutoGate tends to be distributed per airport, whereas SAM is a global solution. The SAM library is its own self-contained library that sits outside of any airport folder and is accessible by any airport that wants to acquire the assets inside here. AutoGate, typically you want to put the Jetway system inside your airport folder. So what I mean by that is we got this little thing here. I'm going to put this over here. And I'm good. How do I have lagged frames? Like, how am I lagging? I'm not even transmitting anything. Whatever. Streamlabs. You suck. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go locate our DD right here. So this is our scenery folder here. This is our X-Plane 11 scenery folder. This is Washington XP. Layer 2, by the way, is where all the airport information is. Layer 1 is the roads, the road network and stuff. So you don't want to edit that. Just edit layer number 2. And all you got to do after you do all that is you need to determine what pieces of the AutoGate kit that you want to install into this airport product. Now for me, I want marshallers, I want steel jetways, and I want the helpers. Helpers is important. A lot of people forget to move the helpers into the airport that they're working with, but don't forget to do that, and I'll show you why here once we do all that. Just drag and drop it into your folder, and once it's in there, the next time you start up your project here, which I'm going to save this real quick, and then I'm going to reopen it. So give me just a second here, shut that down, and then reopen it. So the next time I open up this, open up WED here, we're now going to have access to those Jetway folders that we just installed. 152 notifications. Yep, I got a lot of notifications. All right, so here we are in here. You will now see in the local folder, we now have the marshaller, the helper, and the steel jetways. And there's a lot of objects in here that you can play with, and they are clearly named. Now be careful whenever you're installing a AutoGate jetway. Some people don't pay attention and they accidentally grab the static gate object here. You do not want to grab that because that kind of defeats the purpose. The gate will not move. It'll just sit there and stare at you. And then put on a pair of glasses and yell static life bitch. And then you'll be sad because it won't come to your airplane. So you don't want to be sad, you want to be happy. So you got all these different gates here, and they're all labeled by how many meters long that they are to start with and how far out they can stretch. And then you have different types. You have the standard gate, which kind of goes off at an angle. You have the perpendicular gate, which kind of sticks straight out on the side. You have these little short gates. If you want these to come popping out and stick into the side of the plane, you can do all that. You got these straight pieces here, which, well, exactly what it is. They're straight pieces. They're not at angles and stuff. You do have all these jetway connection materials here and extenders and all that other good stuff. So you got a lot of good little objects here that you can play with. And this is actually one of the things, and I may be speaking out of turn. Let me go look here before I drag Sam through the mud. Sam, last time I checked, did not have much in the way of bridges. It looks like they changed that. I think that is a weird looking object. I think bridges are new because they didn't have them before, which made it very hard to do extensions and stuff. This still doesn't look right to me though. It still doesn't look right. Oh, these are facades. Oh, these are facades. Oh, that's nice. Okay, great. That's fantastic. That was one of my biggest complaints. We weren't able to do network extensions. So these right here, we weren't able to make any of those. So it looks like they've turned them into facades, which means now you can easily connect things to the jetway over here, I think. Now the question that I have now with this is how high up off the ground is this going to be? So Oh wait, it's a facade. We can actually set that up later. All right. Well, we're going to be playing with that for the first time tonight. So, woohoo! There we go. All right. So for now, we're going to do AutoGate real quick, and we're going to pick on this jetway that's kind of sitting here by itself. This is a static jetway. It's completely useless. It does absolutely nothing for this aircraft parking position. It just kind of sits there and looks funny. So here is one of the problems that we have with AutoGate, though. You have to find a jetway that's going to kind of work for you. If the jetway is too far forward, if the jetway is way too far out here, you won't be able to do much with it. It won't be able to help you that much. If it's too short, it won't be able to reach and all that other stuff like that. One of the nice things about SAM is SAM allows you to adjust the length of the jetway's reach while you are actually in the simulator setting it up. Both SAM and AutoGate, the first step to utilizing either one of those are the same. You have to do the work in WED first, which is what we're doing right now. But SAM has a second step, and that involves you actually having the simulator running because you have to set up the actual jetway in the simulator for SAM once you get it into place. So this is why I said SAM is a little bit more difficult to use because it does have that extra step, and that extra step is what confuses a lot of people. So hopefully when we're done with tonight's tutorial, that will remove your confusion. So for AutoGate, AutoGate is a little bit simpler. We can basically just kind of drag and drop, and this is going to make me try to remember. I think I gotta go, I can't remember which way. Drag away from? Oh my god, it's been so long. Oh, I remember what to do. Okay, so find your parking spot here and then drag away from it. You see that? So wherever your plane's parked, you're going to pick a jetway, pick a length, and I always start with this one. It doesn't look very long, so I'm just going to do that, and then I'm going to drag from the parking spot here, and it's going to drop a gate in the correct orientation. Now this jetway is pointed right at the side door of that jet, and so it's going to work automatically. If I didn't do anything else right now, that jetway is now 100% functional. That's all there really is to setting up things inside of WED when it comes to these. Now you kind of have to experiment though and look for a jetway that is going to work for you. So we'll try a straight jetway instead, and that is much more desirable because basically we want to try to get this to match up with this as close as humanly possible. And this is where AutoGate kind of shows its weakness because the parts aren't flexible like they are with SAM, so a lot of people get really discouraged and they don't want to deal with it because AutoGate is not very forgiving when you park horribly. That's the joke I kind of joke with like Vertical and other developers that are like, oh god, they won't leave me alone about SAM this and SAM that. And I was like, well, you know what? They want SAM because most of the airplane community are terrible drivers and can't park their airplanes on a straight line. So if you are off to the left or off to the right a little bit, SAM does not care. It'll still bring the jetway over to you. But if you are off the mark too much in AutoGate, the gate will actually not extend. It will not come to your airplane. So you know what? To me, AutoGate is a great tool for teaching you how to properly park your airplane instead of you being sloppy and reckless and just parking it at any old weird angle. So AutoGate, fantastic training tool. So pro tip, if you guys are editing somebody else's airport, especially an airport like Drew Dweski Designs here, if you guys are dealing with a payware airport like this, that's big like this, you must keep in mind that the developer created their 3D models, at least DD did on this one, as one giant model. And because X-Plane uses a round Earth model, this can cause distortion in WED. So where you place your parking marks here, for example, this guy right here, he may not necessarily be spawning in right on this stripe. He may be off a foot or two to the left or the right. There's no way for me to know because DD decided to make all of his ground parking marks a three-dimensional object. And because he did that, this 3D object is now stretched across the entire airport, and so it gets distorted, it gets bent. And so what you see is not what you get in WED. WED is not a what you see, what you get editor, unfortunately, for the most part. It's 95% what you see is what you get, but when it comes to large-scale ground ortho or ground markings, decals, large-scale 3D models and stuff, X-Plane will start to warp them, and so it becomes difficult to get a precision marker. So what I do, pro tip here, I don't delete the payware jetways at first. I leave them alone because I want mine to match up as closely as possible to the one that we just dropped down on the ground. So in this case, we got this little thing going here, and I need to lock out the ramps. Hang on a second. I don't want these ramps to be selectable, so lock the ramps out. There we go. Ramps are locked out. So we got our jetway down. It almost touches the wall, which is fine because you can see here, this is a great example. See how his jetway is not touching the wall here in WED? When we actually spawn in to the airport, this jetway will be perfectly attached to the wall. That's because of the distortion or the warping of the 3D objects in WED versus what they're going to look like in the simulator. So this is actually perfect. This is right where it needs to be, but it's a little off. So you can kind of fudge it a little bit, plus or minus a few meters. So what I can do now is I can select this jetway, and I'm going to move it over to about right there. And then I'm going to rotate it slightly. And then I'm going to move it again until it's right there. And that should be close enough. There is a small margin of error, so you don't have to be 100% precise. There's like a little plus or minus 5 degrees, I think, something like that. So you can turn your jetways a little bit however you need to right there. Once I have that in place, I can go ahead and kill off the original parking spot here. So I'm going to do that right now and make sure we get the right object. I don't know what I just did. I clicked the wrong button. That's what I just did. Okay, so we just killed off their jetway. Now, you guys, this is essential. While it's not that important for and apparently somebody just rolled down the stairs. Okay, fantastic. I love it when I go to record a tutorial and everybody and their cousin can't stop calling me or making noise outside my bedroom window. That's awesome. Get into the habit of naming your objects. This is going to be particularly important with SAM. SAM requires you to have a unique name for every single jetway, every single marshaller, and every single VSG. I probably just mispronounced that entire thing. The parking meters, the ones that guide you in, you got to be sure to have those properly named. So I'm just in the habit of doing this. I usually name these after the gate that they're supposed to represent. And of course I turned off ramp parking spots. I don't have my charts in front of me, so I'm going to pick this real quick. That is ramp number 12 or gate number 12. So I'm going to go and select it right here, and I'm going to relabel this gate _ 12. And eventually I'll group this up too. In fact, I'll do that right now. Control G, we're going to give this thing its own group, and we're going to call this AutoGate Jetways. Oops, Keyways. I can spell jetways. Alright, so this jetway is in place now, but there's more to do. We have more to do to get this parking spot set up properly. The player has no way of knowing where they need to stop the aircraft, so we have to add a marshaller. Now, before we do that, here's a step that a lot of people miss when they're playing with AutoGates. There is this helper thing, and it has one object in it, greenZone.object here. And what you want to do is, just like your gate, you want to click and drag in the direction that the plane is pointing, and this is going to drop down this green cone with this magenta line sticking through it. This magenta line is the center line of the parking spot. The green area is everywhere that you can actually put a marshaller down. If the marshaller is set anywhere outside the green cone, the marshaller will not function with this particular gate. So once you have a gate zone on the ground, you can see the center point, which is fantastic because now we can come up here, grab our marshaller, and we're going to come down here and we're going to put him right about here. And I can't remember if you point towards or away from. Nope, you want to go away from. So basically everything with AutoGate, you want to drag your line away from the aircraft's parking position towards the terminal. So now we have Freddie Mercury is sitting here and he's ready to guide us in, and I put him right on the center line. So now the player will come driving right up onto this area. And let me lock down the parking spot again so we don't accidentally select it. And you can come in here and fine tune this, of course, drag it if you want to get like super precise. So there we go. Now it's perfectly centered. We'll grab him, move him over a little bit, keep him on the line right there. So he'll be completely 100% visible now, and he'll be usable. We may even want to move him back a little bit. I noticed that some people like to put the marshaller a little too close, and so you actually have to end up sitting up in your chair to be able to see him when he's bringing you in. So now that we got the marshaller properly placed, and again, get in the habit of giving a name. I'll call him like Marshaller J Mondo. There we go. So this guy's officially named J Mondo, and he is good to go. Now, don't forget what I tend to do with the green helper zones. My brain's out here. Pro tip: I take the green zones and I give them their own group folder, and I call them green zones for jetways. This helps me stay organized, right? So we got that right there, and then I'm going to go in here. And we're going to do this gate over here too. So I'm going to go down. This is usually just so you know, this is usually the first thing I do, is I always drop down the green helpers before I start dropping down any gates, just because I want to get these you know, properly zoned. And if I wanted to do some more, we could go boop boop and boop. So there we go. So we got these little helpers, and the reason why I put them in their own group is because when I am getting ready to export the scenery, if you forget to turn these objects off, they will show up in the simulator. You will have green cones on the ground with magenta lines, because this is in fact a three-dimensional object. So you need to remember to turn them off. So I put them in their own little group so that I can switch them off before I start exporting the scenery out into X-Plane for usage. For now, we'll leave it on so that we know what we're doing. So we'll come back down here into our gate area, and we're going to come back up here to Steel Jetways. We're going to go down, and we're going to put one more here. I'm not going to put an auto gate over there, because we're going to do SAM with the rest of these. So coming down here, we can see that this is definitely going to be a perpendicular, or sorry, not perpendicular, but a standard jetway. So let's see, will the 14-meter one work? The 14-meter one actually works pretty good, but we're going to have a problem with this one. This is where AutoGate kind of shows its weakness, because we want to try to get it as close as possible to the original point, but this is the shortest jetway that we have available to us, and as you can see, it's way off the mark from where this guy is. Most likely, if we were to pull up and park right here, the marshaller will guide us to this point still. The marshaller will be just fine. He'll tell us to pull forward, he'll keep waving his little rave sticks at us, he'll cross them over to tell you to stop your position, and you'll stop right where he tells you, but then the AutoGate won't move. It'll just sit there and not do anything. And it looks like the marshaller has like 15 different arms, but that's because this is an animated object, so you're seeing all the different animation states that the marshaller has. So unfortunately, WED does not have the ability to show animated objects yet. That would be kind of cool if they would let you see animated objects inside the WED interface, so you can actually see them moving and stuff, but don't know if there's any plans for that, but we'll see. So this gate may or may not be forgiving. We can try, but I think this is just outside of the AutoGate's capabilities of attaching to the jetway. But I'm going to show you anyway, because I want you to see what happens when a jetway is not properly aligned. You'll see what happens here. So, what am I doing? I need to turn on ramps like so, because I need to see who this is. This is ramp 14. So, all right, and we'll just lock that back down. And that's a green zone object. I want you to hide because I want my gate. And there's the gate. I need to play with this a little bit more. Hang on a second. We're going to play with this a little bit more. Oh, that is not what I wanted to do. Come here. Delete. Let's see if we can't find a better gate Perpendicular maybe might help us here. Don't be afraid to, man, even that's too long. See, this gate is so close. It's almost impossible to actually get this one in here properly. Perpendicular doesn't look like that's going to work for us either. We can try a short. We can try to convert this into a short jetway here. That might work. This is where I'm talking about where you kind of have to finagle things. So this one actually might work well, but in order to mask what we're doing here, we're going to have to add a jetway connection piece or an extender. We'll do a 10-meter extension here, and I'm going to drop that right here. And then I'm going to rotate it into place like so. And this is going to go into the wall. And what this will do, it'll give us a fake, it'll give us an illusion of a jetway the way it's supposed to do. So sometimes you just got to get really creative here if you want to be able to impress people. So don't forget to delete excess objects that are not required. And so this should give us a realistic and functional jetway. So you have to mix and match. You have to try to find the best one for you. Now, one of the bad things about AutoGate also that Sam actually addressed is not all airports are alike. Some jetways are 3.5 meters off the ground. Some jetways are 4 meters off the ground. Some are as high as 7 meters off the ground. It just depends where you are. AutoGate does not have varying height jetways. They're all set at a fixed altitude of 4.5 meters, I think, is the altitude for all of those. So you may end up having your jetway kind of sticking out of a part of their model that it wasn't meant to be sticking out of. But these are kind of some of the shortcomings of, you know, installing auto gates at airports that weren't really meant to have them. So as far as the HD, his new update, no, I mean, it's not important to this tutorial, so I'm not going to waste time looking for it. Usually I just go into one of his old airports and I pull out a his texture for one of his old airports, like San Diego or something. For people on YouTube who are wondering why I sound like I'm talking to myself, we're actually recording this live on Twitch, and then we're going to be exporting it out to YouTube. So if I sound like I'm talking to my audience, I am. So there we go. We have 2 jetways in place. We'll show you what those look like here in X-Plane in just a moment. Let's see here. I don't want this object, because that gate is going to become what I want it to be. Now over here, I already went and installed a couple of SAM gates. You'll notice they look a little similar to these, only everything on SAM gates are just pointing straight out. They're not bent, they're not curved at all. This is one of the powerful things about SAM, because I'm just going to drop the base object down here, but once we get into the simulator and can actually see the 3-dimensional object, we are going to be able to adjust the starting state of this particular object. So we can have it started where it's turned and twisted or pulled way back. We can have it higher or lower on the ground. And when a player spawns into the airport, that is the condition that the airport is going to have that jetway in. It's going to be in whatever configuration you set it up for. This gives airports a much livelier look to them. Now, I already did a really good guess. I know that this airport here, all the jetways are 4 meters off the ground, and it just so happens that Sam has a wonderful 4-meter gate available inside of the SAM library. Right down here under jetways, SAM comes with 2 different library types, and both library types has a full set of glass jetways here that are very nice, very high definition. Solid types right there. And then you have type 2, which looks a little bit more detailed, but it's just a different type. And then, of course, solid versions of that gateway as well. So there you go. That's what the gates look like. I'm going to be using type 1. It's the most common type, and it is a 4-meter jetway system. And we might even play with their new extenders there, so to see if that actually works. This is actually the original Drew Dweski Designs extensions, so we've already done all that extended. The problem is these extensions have, oops, That's not what I wanted. Selection mode. There's like bits and pieces down here for these. So there's already like a concrete support pole sticking out of this one, and these jetways actually have their own as well. So we end up with some weird looking double pylons that these jetways are sitting on top of. So that looks a little funky to me, but if this is actually functional now, we should be able to come down, because this is a facade, we should be able to actually draw this now and come all the way out here and click like so. That's going to be extremely useful. Oh wow, I like that. Alright, we're going to play with this real quick and see what we can do with it. Let's make sure that we get the right gate out of the way. Oh. Okay. Okay, Bob. You do you, Bob. I just want to get that out of the way so we can move this back down here. So come here. You select, thank you. Align it with this, and then grab this and drag this down. So what is the point of having a facade? Oh, you can't have bends in it. That's what it is. You cannot have bends in or breaks in it. If you do, you'll damage your jetway. I see. So you actually have to extend it like that, and then extend this out, like so, until it connects onto the back side of it. This is going to look funky. Oh, no, it's not. We're going to connect it like that. Okay, there we go. Cool. All right. Now, once you get these gates set up like this, don't forget, this is going to need a very unique name to itself. So I'm going to call this Sam Gate 12, and I'm going to come over here and call this one Sam. Oh wait, these aren't gates 12 and I almost screwed up. Hang on a second. Unlock the ramp starts. This is that's gate 10. All right, let's rename that. Sam Gate 10, and this is Gate 11. So we'll come over here and call this guy. Come on, click for me. And that's their jetway. I'm going to get rid of their jetway after I replace it here with this. And we'll call this Sam Gate 11. And then I'm going to go to the facade, and I'm going to go clickety, clackety, maybe. Clickety, clackety, boop. We'll just have that sticking right out of the wall there, and nope, stop that. Stop right there, devious select. There we go. We'll delete his, and we'll move this into a better position, and connecting it right there to the back side of that, and we'll see how that's awesome. That is really awesome that they did it like this. Fantastic. I don't mind if that goes into the wall some. So anyway, we got our two SAMs and we got our two AutoGates here, right? So we'll be sure that we turn this off. We're going to go take a look here. Oh, before we leave, for our example today, I'm not going to sit here and do the whole airport for you guys. I'll do it on my own time. So I don't want to make this tutorial 7 hours long. So we're just going to show you the basics of how to get a couple of AutoGates in place and how to get a couple of SAM gates in place. So that being said, we need marshallers on the ground as well. Marshallers are the exact same thing. They are under dockings, and right here there is a marshaller object right there, and there's also a marshaller AGP system right here. I don't know why they made... Wow, that guy is way up there in the air. Why is he so high up? He looks like he's standing on a ladder. This other guy is not way up there. Or maybe he is. Okay. Either way, we're going to drop the marshaller down right now. We're going to put him... we'll just put it right in here, and let's drop a marshaller. Okay, there he is. Oops, nope. Hold up, delete him. Now, Sam, as you notice, is a little bit different because you want to drag towards the aircraft and not away from it. So there we go. Is he facing in the wrong way? Did I just mispronounce? I did. I lied to you. I just lied to you. I totally lied to you. Click here, drag away from the plane, just like AutoGate. I thought it was the other way around. And that should give us our marshaller. There he is. Okay, so, DD, why do you got that sitting right there? Like, why is that there? I'm going to have to fix that now. All right, so you'll notice that the SAM marshaller has a red and a white line sticking out of him. The white line, shoot, I didn't do my research. It's been a while since I've actually programmed this stuff. The white line, I think, they're distance measuring things. So the red one, I know for a fact, you want to get the red one right where the plane parks. That's the distance that you want it to be away from. I think the white one may just be for alignment only. I'm not quite sure. But we'll figure it out here once we get inside. Now our new marshaller right here, where is he? He's up here. We need to give him a unique name. So we're going to call this guy Marshaller Joe. Alright, he's Marshaller Joe. And there's a reason why. We'll show you here in a little bit. I am going to grab the object file here. Come here, objects. Oh, how is that not part of the object core? Yeah, okay, it is. So where is this object located? Oh, I love it when they do this. I love it when the object is part of a larger... See, this is such an inefficient way of doing this. They went ahead and made groups of vehicles and attached them to one object file because they didn't feel like making individual objects. So we got a thing that's now in our way that's causing problems, and I have no way of knowing where that is located. I would literally have to go through here and just keep clicking on stuff until I got lucky and that object vanishes out of thin air. Oh, why would you do this to me? Do you see how cruel and wicked Trudeauski Designs is? They're mean. They're mean. They're so mean. It could be any one of these objects. I have no clue. Notice how everything's got a serial number on it. That's just the way they like to do things. It's to do exactly... I'm sure they got a real reason for it, but my imagined reason is they do it for security. It just makes it harder for people to tear their airports apart and figure out how they work, which is something that they don't want you to do, obviously. Yeah, they don't have a single object labeled here as a truck or anything, so... Boo on that stupid thing being right in my way. I'll figure that out later. So we'll just add another marshaller here real quick. I'm going to go marshaller AGP. I'm going to drag away from you. And we'll set this marshaller up here. Get him centered up. Basically, you kind of want the white and the red to fit inside the taxi parking line like so, and then back him up so that he's right inside the range. We don't want him to get hit by the jetway, so we move him so that he doesn't have any jetway parts that'll slam into him. And I can see now that is not centered up, so we'll recenter, and there we go. So this marshaller, we're going to call him Marshaller Susie, right? Because equal opportunity ramp agents here. All right, so we got our AutoGate ramp agents here. And we got our SAM ramp agents, and we've got our gates. Oh, we didn't put in a ramp agent over here. Boop, boop, boop. Let me fix that. Fix it. I need a marshaller. Zoop. Boop. Come here, Mr. Marshalman, and we'll put you back here so you're not standing anywhere on accident. All right. So there we go. All right, so we got our two marshallers in there. We can turn off our green helper objects here. Boop, get rid of those. And I am ready to run a validation check here. There's going to be a ton of errors, I'm sure. Your name is in all upper caps. Your name is all blah, blah, blah. They're just warnings. That's good. So once you have all your objects in place, and you got your marshallers in place, and your jetways are in place, you need to rebuild the scenery. And we're going to do that right now. So I'm going to go into the Earth nav data file. I'm going to wipe out their appdat file, and I'm going to wipe out these 2 DSF tiles, like so. And then I'm going to come up in here, and I'm going to tell this to export my scenery. It's going to give me a plethora of error messages, but none of them are show-stopping. Click warning to proceed, and this is going to send us right back to here. As you can see, the DSF files have rebuilt themselves, the airport data file has rebuilt itself, and we are now 100% ready to launch X-Plane 11 and go take a look at the work that we just did. So I'm going to launch up X-Plane real quick. And I don't want y'all sitting here waiting for me, so I'm going to go ahead and cut out the wait time in the final production of this. In the meantime, the rest of y'all that are sitting in live chat can sit here and entertain me. Alright, so we're loaded into the X-Plane 11 simulator here. We're inside the wonderful Rotate MD-88 today. And as we come outside the aircraft, we can see, ta-da, the AutoGate has attached itself to the side of our aircraft properly. We also got Joe is standing out here ready to direct us wherever we need to go. And right next to Joe, or I guess that's Susie. That's Susie. Susie and Joe are actually twins. Just one's a really ugly girl, and the other one's a really attractive dude. So, you know, that's what I got to say there. So notice that it's not quite perfect, and there is room to like scoot this back a little bit. You can see there's a little gap in there, so we can scoot this gate back just a little bit. But the height of the gate is actually right about where we need it. So we can actually get away with using AutoGate at this airport if we wanted to. Same thing over here. This is making me a little sad here. So what I probably need to do on this, because I don't want this jutting out of the top of the building, we need to find a way to shorten this. If we were going to use AutoGate, we'd have to find a way to shorten this. Probably use the 5-meter long jetway and see if we can't get it to just go right into there and eliminate this top part. If not, it's not that too terrible, right? It just looks like another piece of the roof sticking up out there. But anyway, that's it. AutoGate, ready to go. Works every time. You can see we're right on the parking spot where we need to be. The marshaller's happy. Everybody's happy. Pepu Pilot did an amazing job on this MD-88 for us. That's a gorgeous plane right there. It's worth buying the Rotate MD-88 just to have this paint job. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right. Yay! Look, I fixed the AI problem out of this airport too. We got AI now. Okay, so we're at a new airport. It got really dark really quick. I'm going to go ahead and disable active sky real quick so we can have bright, sunny skies. Thank you. Bright, sunny skies. Okay, so coming over here, you can see that we have our new jetways. Oh, I see a problem. Oh. Oh my. Oh my, that's not good. That is totally not good. We'll have to figure out how that works, because you can see here I chose the 4-meter gates, which is correct. These connection points are 4 meters off the ground, so we're gonna have to figure out how to connect those. I wonder if you could change the altitude real quick. Let me take a look. Let's take a look in WED here. And see if we can come in here and change the altitude of the end of this. Ah, there it is. Yep. There it is. Yep. Okay, so these are 4-meter jetways. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here to both of the endpoints. I don't know if you all have ever used facades before, but each point has to be updated, and you can select multiple points here holding down the left shift key and clicking, and we can just hold down left control and click 4-meter height, and that will make all the points in here light up to the proper facade height. So I apologize, but I can't stand that. That's horrible looking. I'm shutting down the simulator real quick, and we're going to fix this and come back in and see if we can't make this look absolutely beautiful. There's also something else we need to do, and you're going to think this is weird looking, but because we're doing facades this way, or because we're doing SAM this way, in order for this to look proper, I can already tell you what we are going to have to do to the SAM jetway. And I know this is going to look weird, and you're going to be confused for a second. Trust me on this though. I'm going to actually pick this up and I'm going to move it and I'm going to turn it and twist it because I want this to connect to the end of that, just like that. I want it to go right there. And I know what you're thinking, oh my God, that's going right across that parking spot. This will look terrible. But remember when I told you one of the powerful things about SAM is the fact that you can set up SAM's initial gate positioning once we have it in place. So for now, I'm just going to attach these gates like that, like so. I know it looks funky, but trust me on this one. Your gates, SAM gates, should always be straight out. They should be shooting straight out. Whether they're connected to a wall or if you're attaching them to a facade bridgeway here, they need to be sticking straight out like this. All right, and I'll show you why. So we're going to go back in here. I'm going to kill off the app date file again. I'm going to kill off these guys. And I just delete that stuff for my own peace of mind because I know that if I did something wrong and I try to export, I won't have a new DSF tile or a new app.dat file. But I know if it functions properly, when I am done spitting it out, I'm going to end up with, ta-da, a new DSF and a new app data file here. So this airport's ready to load again. So we're going to fire up X-Plane again, and we're going to go take a look at the changes that we just did here. All right, so here we are. Now notice our jetways are erected. They are pointing straight out. They are happy jetways. They are where they need to be now. And you can see here, this is unfortunate. This is an unfortunate set of circumstances here, but not much I can do with that because they decided to have this part sticking up. But you know what? At least it's still connected, right? It just looks like a little extra detail added to the airport. So if you weren't here watching, you probably wouldn't even notice. This one you probably would notice because it's stuck out at an angle, so it looks a little funky. So what I would probably end up doing with this one is I would probably make a, just have it, the jetway stick out straight just like this one, and then just angle the gate in the proper direction here when we're done. But for our purposes, we're just going to continue on programming the way we are right now. Okay, so here we are, guys. We are sitting here. We got 2 SAM gates that we're going to program here, and we're going to get these set up. So this is the part that tends to confuse people a little bit. I'm going to blow away the smoke of confusion right now for all of you guys and gals that want to play with SAM and put them on your airports here. So the first thing is first, you got to come up here to your plugins menu. If you have SAM installed properly, you will have the SAM menu here. And we got the interface tool. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to turn off automatic jetway connection for now. I don't want that on when I'm doing beta testing, getting everything ready to go, and I'm going to shut that down. Come back up here, go to SAM, and we're going to go to the authoring tool. The authoring tool is this big, giant, beautiful menu right here, which can be very scary at first, but it's not scary at all. We just come over here, and what we're going to do is we're going to add SAM to the scenery. We're going to click on this, and we're going to choose a scenery that you wish to add the SAM library to. You need to pick your airport from the drop-down list. Right here, we're working on Washington XP Layer 2, so I'm going to click that, and I'm going to give this my own custom label. DD's KDCA Airport. And I'm going to add SAM. Boom. SAM has now officially been added to the airport. However, SAM gates are currently not active. Let me show you how you can tell if you have successfully added SAM to your airport. Whenever you do the that add thing that we just did, come and look inside your root folder of your airport that you're working on, and you should now see a new sam.xml file. This XML file is going to contain all the information necessary for each marshaller, each docking station, and each jetway to function properly at the airport and connect to the player's aircraft. So next up, we've got to get stuff connected to the player's aircraft. I'm going to start working on the jetways here first. Data references, we don't really need to mess with this. This is when you get really advanced. This is what super payware developers have to do whenever they make custom jetways. But because we're not dealing with custom jetways right now, nor are we dealing with a custom aircraft with odd data refs, we're just going to go right into the easy part here, and we're going to go ahead and start adding our jetway instances. Now, this part confuses people because they're like, why do I have to add a jetway instance because don't I already have it can be identified properly? So we're going to click on the add here, and you'll notice that we have 2 gates here, latitude and longitude. gives you a wonderful little thing here. You can hold this down and you'll see the jetway starts, our plane is parked right here. So we're going to work on the second one here. We're going to click and hold this down. So you can see there, boop, release. I now know that I'm working with the proper jetway. The other thing that you can do, note the latitude and the longitude of the object in question. You can come back into SAM and verify that by coming all the way down here. Now, WED uses a 12-digit and SAM does not. SAM uses like an 8-digit, I think. So you're going to see it a little bit truncated, but it's going to be enough that you can get close. You can get close to it. So looking at this here, you see that where it says 750, the last three numbers here. I'm going to note that it's not here, but we do have this. Notice that this is up to 50. I know it sounds confusing, but that's the way it's doing it. It's rounding everything up. So I know that that is in fact the jetway that we're working on here. SAM Gateway 11, good to go. Now, what I wish it had done is actually read the name of this object and brought it into the simulator, but it does not. It doesn't do that. So you're like, but Captain K-Man, why did you have me label it in WED? Because give them a unique name, especially the marshalers. The marshalers especially need a unique name because their names actually do get pulled into the SAM editor here. But for now, we just got this stuff right here. So here we go. So first things first, we're just going to start at the top of the data and we're going to work our way down through it here. First things first, we need to load up a template. Now we got several templates here and they're all labeled after the very jetway object that we put in WED. I know that we used a type 1, it was a solid 4 meter, so all these numbers change to what the jetway needs to be configured because your jetway is probably going to be floating in the air, or it's going to go off in a weird direction or something. You don't want any of that junk. You put in WED. In this case, we did a solid 4 meter piece. We don't need to edit any of this data at this point. We're perfectly fine. If you don't want the jetway to make any, you have different alarms, ringing, or none. I don't know if you have the ability, I know you can add custom sounds, but I don't know if it's as easy as just dropping the sounds into the plugin folder or the library folder. I've never really bothered with it. I'm perfectly happy with the ringing sound as it comes riding up on us here. So next up, arrangement. Now this is the part where things get a little scary for people. And the plane is arriving or the player spawns in at the airport, whichever comes first. And what you can do is you can grab all these pieces here, and as you move the slider around, you'll note boop, 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 that we're moving the jetway around. Zoop, zoop, zoop. So in this case, I want this jetway to be right about here. Okay, this is going to be its starting. I'm going to set it at 25, right about there. Okay. Let's see, rotation number 2. This involves the curvature of this particular part of the jetway, right? Jetways should never be curving in the other direction. They should be. All right, so we're setting up the initial configuration of what this is going to look like. Rotation number 3 is the up and the down. Up and the down, up and the down. Usually jetways are kind of set lower at airports, so that's what that particular jetway. The wheels, I'm going to leave the wheels perfectly fine, just the way they are. You have everything in place right here. You want to click the Set Current Arrangement as the initial arrangement. You do that, and now all these values are saved into that XML file, and so this jetway is going to be in this default configuration when our airplane arrives at the airport and is pulling up to the gate, or it spawns in to the airport and is ready to use the gate. All right, so pretty easy right there, at least I hope. So for right now, we're temporarily disabling. It's automatically detecting this aircraft's data reference in regards to the door on the front of the aircraft. This is a good thing to click because what you're going to see is if the jetway is outside the boundaries of the capabilities of this particular jetway animation system, you're going to see boxes up here turn red. You never want anything up here to light up red. What that means is the jetway will continue to extend itself onwards forever and forever until the bone animation literally pulls the jetway apart into its individual component pieces. You'll end up seeing giant gaps in between each piece of the 3D objects here as the bone animation separates away from the 3D model. So tell SAM which door you want it to connect to by default. And the reason why they allow you to do this, one of the strengths, one of the best things about SAM is that giant international gateways that can house a 380 or a 747 that have multiple exit doors, we have an A380. I don't know how good it is. I think it's pretty basic, but who knows? You'll be able to do that. And Sam has got you covered. It'll be ready to cover you here. So, installation. So here's something that we need to worry about while we're here. I'm going to reset. It allows us to limit the movement of this jetway, because if we don't put limits on how this jetway can operate, there is a scenario in which you can wing over from the initial position, slam into your aircraft, come back around, and then reattach. That's absolutely tacky looking. We do not want that to happen. So what installation allows boundaries that we want it to. Maximum extension length is 20 meters. This jetway cannot go past 20 meters. If we were to go beyond that, the jetway itself, on Force Connect to aircraft testing again, you will see here under extent, reach this parking spot. This is why this button's here, because it allows you to see the values that are necessary for this jetway to go from this point to this point, safe 9.972 meters. Okay? At the initial point, it's all the way back at 0 meters. Okay, so I'm going to put some limits on the way this thing can extend. I don't want this thing to ever go past 10 meters. I don't want it to ever, it's impossible. It won't let me go any further now. So we've locked down the jetway's ability to extend, because an extreme case, if there was like another parking space right here, and there's a plane parked here and one here, this jetway, other parked plane into the player's plane, and we really don't want that to happen. So we need to limit the extents of how this aircraft can move. The other thing that I tend to limit quite a bit is the rotation 1 variable. You can see it's down here, 8 degrees right of center. We do not want the jetway to be able to move that far. That is way too much movement for this jetway, because it's only going to be servicing aircraft to the swinging in that direction, never the other way. So the way we do that, we can come up here and we can grab this and we can move this around, right? We can see how far it goes. Negative 25. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to put negative 25. Whoops, negative 25. Boop. As far as rotation, now look here. You can see right here, we've now limited. Let's try this again. 25. Boop. Negative 25. Boop. All right, let's try this again. Oh, actually, derp. I need to do both values. Minimum distance it can run, negative 25. Oh, stupid plugin. Boop. And then, oh, let me set this back to 0 real quick. Hang on. Oh my gosh. FS Cloud. I hate you. Hang on a second. Plugin manager. Enable. FS Cloud. FS Cloud. Where are you? I want my enter key back. Give me back my enter key. Thank you. All right. There we go. Okay. Where am I at? What am I doing? Okay. Rotation. Negative 25. And then, oh, okay, cool. Negative 25. 88. I need you to swing. Why do I have this backwards? Minimum rotation. Oh, okay. So I don't want this thing to ever go further. Now that we got our minimum swing, right? Negative 25. So remember, negative is swinging to the left. Positive is swinging to the right. All right. Remember that. So I don't want this jetway to ever go beyond. Lock that down. And so now, this jetway, what did I say? Negative 57. Minimum rotation, negative 57. There we go. Okay, there we go. Now we've stopped it from being able to move anywhere beyond that. So it's only going to have that much movement distance now available to it. Rotation number 2. The jetway, that's perfectly fine. I don't need to edit that. I'm perfectly fine with the 0 all the way to negative 88. We're going to start with an initial turn of a limit on the, let's not let it go above 4.5 just so it doesn't tear itself apart. On Accidente here, don't forget to click on Set Current Arrangement as Initial Arrangement. Is this gate 11 we're playing with? I think this is gate 11 we're playing with. Let me double check. Which gate are you? Gate 10. We're playing with gate 10 right now, right? Yes, we're playing with gate 10. So let's get this labeled properly. I do not want, I don't want this disconnected anymore. And I'm a little paranoid, so I tend to relabel the jetway here just to make sure, and then I resave it, and I click the back button. So what I just did is, whenever you're doing testing and setup, you want to disable automatic connection. If you don't, it's going to automatically try to continuously connect itself to the jetway. You'll also note that the reason why I came in here and I killed off the, under the SAM interface, I killed off automatic jetways because we're busy testing right now. Notice now that we have a new entry right here, guys. DD's KDCA Airport. This is the new label. Notice we have a gate 10 here now. I'm going to click this, and there's the bells and whistles. But the results are actually worth it. It's quite nice. Sam does all the math calculations on how to get from point A to point B on its own. And what you end up with is very, very... And we can test the disconnect. And that 8 at a time. I will always go in and do all my marshallers second. I do the jetways first. And it's done. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go set up the next gate. So what I do is I go up here to Flight Configuration, Customize. Oh wait, sorry. Over here, Change Location, Customize. And we're going to go over to gate number 10. Confirm, start a new flight, and this will move our plane over one gate. Boink! We bounce into position, and we're ready to go. Note that the configuration settings that we did on gate number... I am really not satisfied with the way this looks, so I'm going to go fix this real quick. And unfortunately, shut that down, and we're going to come back in here and we're going to fix this jetway immediately. So, oh, and this might actually be... Well, it's absolutely not doable with AutoGate. You really can't do that with the AutoGate engine. But with multiple parking spots to a single jetway. So we could literally have this one jetway able to go over there, and to swing all the way over here and park itself right there with these air, with there. And it should be able to reach, because we do have a 20-meter stretch distance, so I think this jetway would actually be able to service all 3 of these parking spots. So if I wanted to, I could totally go in right now and add additional parking spots for these small CRJ, ERJ parking spots, and we could totally program this one gate to handle all of those parking positions. And we're going to attach that right there, like so. And then we're going to pointing straight out when we first configure them. So that's what we're doing right now. Point it straight out, line it up, lock it in, stick it in, and voila. This jetway is now sitting right where it needs to be. I'm thinking we should set this up. I think we should totally set this up. We're going to do that. Alright, so we got gate 10 here. Alright, so we got gate 10. And I'm going to go ahead and add a couple more parking spots here just to show you guys the power of. And I think these are only designed for Class B aircraft, so that's going to be your little tiny baby CRJs and stuff. We'll put a parking spot here, and we'll put another parking spot here. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, these are for CRJs during overflows, so we'll go ahead and set these guys up real quick. Make sure this is lined up. Even this needs to be a little bit extra lined up here, right about there. There we go. All right, let me show you the power of SAM here by doing this here. So we're going to come in here. This is so we got our new gates here, and let's see, who does this serve? This serves United, so most likely this will probably serve United as well. I doubt if any. I don't know if any United CRJs or ERJs come out here, but we'll set that up just in case. This is 100%. All this right here, this all belongs to United. This is their terminal, so I would suspect this is the only place where United planes would park. Or Solaris Virtual Airlines CRJs and ERJs can totally park here. Alright, so we fixed this up, right? So we're good to go. Right? Oh, I guess while we're here, we actually need to come in here also, and we're going to have to add some more marshalers, right? Because we've... Marshaler number 6. Boop. Oops, wrong way. Boop. There's our little marshaler fella. Come here, little dude. Little dude! I need you in my life. Come here, dude. Alright, dude. There you go. It's my goal in life not to crush this poor bastard with the jetway, because that would look hysterical. But he should be okay standing there, I hope. So there's a marshaler right there. We're going to call this guy Marshaler Has. Marshaler has been born. Alright, and then boop, 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 boop. Basically be right there, and I think he'll be okay. I don't think he'll get... It'll be amazing. It will be amazing. You'll love it. Trust me. Come on. Stop messing with me. There we go. Boop. Back it up. Back it up, sir. Red thing touching the thing. There we go. Marshaler Tim. There are those who call me Tim. Okay, so just like that, we just set up a whole new set of parking spots and some new marshalers, which we're going to play with those guys here in a moment. So we're going to go back into Earth Data. Nah, kill that off. Kill that. Kill that. Configure. Export scenery packages. Warnings. Proceed. Double check. Make sure it rebuilt the scenery. Yes, it did. And X-Plane will fire that right back up. And we're going right back in. All right. Parking spot. I wish SAM or AutoGate had the ability to connect to AI aircraft like P3D can do. That is such a cool feature on P3D to watch all the, and of course the jetways pull away from the AI whenever they're backing out and all that other good stuff. We don't have anything that's sophisticated in X-Plane yet. Makes me sad. I'm not happy with that. Remember, I'm going to be making this for myself here. So I'm not happy with that at all. I'm going to grab this and I'm going to drag it over a couple feet. And then I'm going to grab this and I'm going to drag this over a couple feet. Screwed up. Verify that it created a new AppDat file. Then we can go back to the simulator. We can come up here under developer and we can go down to reload the scenery. So we're back in now. The jetway moved over slightly. You know what? I'm happy with that. Good enough for our tutorial purposes today. I may shift it over again later, but for now, close enough. Alright, so we got a new SAM jetway here, right? And it has been identified inside the SAM development system. So we're going to go over to plugins, SAM, authoring tools. Going to go over to jetways, and we're going to add guest, but it's this guy right here. So we're going to come down here again once more. I know that this is a Type 1 solid 4-meter high jetway. I'm going to load in all the data for that. Open up install here. And we are going to... So for this, we want to take a look because we know that we're getting ready to code for multiple parking spots for one jetway. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play with the animation system and make sure we can actually get it all the way there. Now, the rotation is fine. We can see that the jetway will rotate all the way. And we can come down here to extenders and we can extend out to the full 20 meters to see if we can reach all of the parking spots. In this example, we absolutely can. It may be a little iffy. It may be a little iffy here, but I don't think so. I think we have just enough space to connect. Put this back where it belongs. I'm going to rotate this to center point. And we'll go ahead and have it sitting right here, right? We'll sit this right here. I'm going to go ahead and initially I'm going to have it sitting lower. And I'm going to have the jetway slightly rotated here. I'm going to go ahead and set that like that. Okay, now, as far as movement area goes, we're going to come down here to our extents, buddy, but we don't want that to happen, ever. So I'm going to limit this thing's ability to swing around. So negative 88, we don't want it to be able to do that. The most we want this thing to be able to swing out is negative 25. So arc. And I'm fine if it rotates all the way out 88 degrees. It can do that. So that's fine. Swing, swing, swing. That's good. As far as extensions go, I'm not going to limit this thing's ability to extend right where they are just fine. I really don't need to modify much of anything else. We will put 4.5 as the maximum. Oh wait, what was that default? That was 6, right? 6. 6, 6, 6. Negative 6. Oh, there we go. See how it's lighting red? We don't want it to light red. It's lighting red because the wheels can't attach to the ground anymore. So, I mean, it won't kill anything. It won't make the simulator crash or anything weird like that. But, you know, it could break the jetway and make it look funky. And we don't want it to really look. Arrangement right there. We're going to come down here. We're going to give this thing a label. This is gate 10. Did I label the other one gate 10? I did, didn't I? No. Did I? I think I did. Alright. You know what? Close enough for now. Lock that down. We gotta redo this. We totally gotta redo this. This one right here. I need you to be gate 11, sir. Save. There we go. Alright. Oh, wait. Oops. Sorry. We gotta turn that off. Off. Turn that off there. Gate 11. Resave the jetway. There we go. Now connect. Wait, now they're both gate 11. Oh, you bastard. Ugh. You're gate 11. Alright? Stay gate 11. You are gate 11. You may stay. Alright. You are gate 10. Save as gate 10. Thank you very much. Okay. Whew. Oh, oh. Careful. Don't get yourself confused like I just did. Alright, so gate 10 is now moving where it needs to go. Jetway is moving. It's moving forward. It's going to connect. Put away. You can actually see all the data refs changing in real time here as the gate's moving itself around. All right, fantastic. There we go. All right, and the gate is in position. Fantastic. 10 Bravo. Configure, restart the simulation, go. It'll slide us over to the gate. Zoop, whoop. So we're back in position here. You'll notice our jetway is where it needs to be. But here's the cool part. Because we set up the limitations and the possible movement area for this jetway, it's actually already pre-configured. We shouldn't have to do anything else but to come over here, go down to DCA Airports, and connect gate number 10. And this right here underlines the power of SAM. This is why SAM is better than AutoGate right here, despite its cost. Now, SAM is free to anybody doing freeware airports. If you're doing freeware projects, you don't have to pay any kind of fee. But if you are a developer, you do have to shell out 200 euros. I think that's like 175 US dollars turned off. If that was turned on, this jetway would automatically come out to attach itself to the airplane. I tend to leave it off because I just like pushing buttons. I'm a button pusher, so I tend to leave off automatic gate connection, and I go and select the gate myself whenever I'm ready to attach it. All right, cool. Disconnect the gate. And it'll go through its animation here, pull itself out, and then we'll test out the last one. And gate number 10 is good to go. And so now, whenever I pull into Drew Dweski Designs Washington XP scenery, I will now have jetways attaching to my airplane whenever I arrive. So I'm saying, I hope DD and other developers pay the money and update their own airports in a more professional manner, using custom jetway objects and stuff. So that's what we're looking for. All right. And the tires are going to turn back into position, and it is done. We'll turn off the interface here. We'll go over to flight configuration, change location, customize. We'll go down to gate number 10 Charlie, confirm, start. This will move us over here, and then we'll do our final check. And that's pretty much all there is to installing SAM at airports that don't have SAM already in them. Like anything else, it's just time consuming, and with a little bit of knowledge, you should be able to do what I just did. This, as long as my YouTube channel is fully active, so pretty good. And let's do that gate number 10 again. So the jetway is now moving. It's calculating its connection point again. As my roommate coughs his entire lung out on audio. That dude has got sonic lungs, man. I can hear that guy from 5 miles away. So anyway, as you can see, our one jetway is now capable of servicing 3 different parking positions. So we just made all the parking spots at this airport 100% functional, which is what needs to happen with every single piece of payware scenery from this day to the end of time. No more skimping on gate spawn points, no more skimping on jetways, no more. You spend, listen to me payware developers, you sit down and you spend the extra week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks to put in all the parking spots and make them serviceable with every single jetway. Also, while we're on the subject again, because I feel like this needs repeating, just in case there's a few of you developers out there that are holding out, stop planes should be an optional add-on package. It should never be the default, because X-Plane 11 has its own AI parking system, and we also have programs like XLife and World Traffic 3 to take care of aircraft parking at the gates. You are still thinking like X-Plane 10 and X-Plane 9 when you add static planes all over the airport. They are not required, nor are aircraft on general aviation ramps, business jet ramps. But at the main movement area ramps and at cargo ramps, we do not need static planes anymore. They're leading all your static crap out of the airport. We don't want it. We don't need it. So get rid of them. So stop it. You're just... The time that you waste... They've been really proudly showing off all their static airplanes that they've been developing for their Polish scenery and stuff. But I'm sitting here going, why are you wasting your man-hour resources on something that we don't need anymore when you could be adding every parking space every time with a proper network for the taxi AI system, for the ATC system, adding proper flows so that the airport's AI and the player's aircraft can be properly sequenced into the airport in the X-Plane 11 environment. Please stop wasting your man-hours on making static aircraft objects. And that is all I am going to say on that subject. We've got our jetways in place. Now we need to deal with the marshallers, and they're kind of done in a similar way to the jetways themselves. Once you get, the simulator toolkit, same as the jetways did, but they're going to be under the visual docking guidance system here. We're going to click on this and click add a docking guidance. This is going to show us the 4 marshallers that we laid out earlier. And if you remember, and it's important that you have WED open while you're doing this, because you're going to need to actually get the coordinates off of these guys, because unfortunately, if you remember earlier, I told you to label each one of your marshals here. So we got Tim, we got Susie, we got Joe, and then we got the other guy. Clean, because I'm going to label them the same way that I labeled them in WED. I'm going to label them in SAM, because each marshaller has to have a unique name. So we got a bunch of guys hanging around here. We have to find out who the marshaller is first. We got to make sure we have the right marshaller, right? So I'm working on gate number 10. So over here in WED, I'm going to go and find gate number 10, right? And that should be, let me turn off the taxiways here real quick so I can actually see what I'm doing. I believe that is gate. Kind of hard to see here. I need to see what's going on, and then when you zoom in, you like lose all your visuals on the ground. There we go. Okay, so I'm working on gate 10, which is the main gate right here. So this marshaller, this is Susie, and we can see Susie's latitude and longitude are right here, right? 38.850, blah, 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 blah. Again, just like we stated earlier, WED's going to show you a lot more places to the right of the decimal. Figure it out by rounding up or down as necessary. So I'm looking for 8501 in my coordinates here. 8501. And we got 849948. 501. This might be the candidate right here. This might be him. And so we're just going to open all those up here. 8501, 85033. So I think we are dealing with this one right here. And we can double check by looking here. 850168. Go back over here. 850168. So I know that Susie here is the marker. So I'm going to come down here and call this Marshaller Susie. And I'm going to copy the aircraft position right there. And then we're going to do a test. We're going to, you'll notice Susie just appeared. A manly Susie. But Susie, if there's a plane coming in and it's facing latitude, longitude, and all these headings are within a certain tolerance level. So we do all that and we're good to go. Don't forget to turn off the override when you're done and then save. And that's going to put Susie down on the ground. So what you do in 7, so I'm going to first come over here. I'm going to shut down this. I'm going to come over here, flight configuration, blah, 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 speak English. And click start new flight, start new flight. It'll shift the plane over into position. There we go. And now we need to find where Tim is. Again, plugins, SAM, authoring tools. We're going to add a new interface and we're looking for 849978, I believe. Let's double check it again. There it is, right there. 849979. So close enough. Open this up. We're going to call this Marshaller Tim. We're going to copy aircraft's current position. You can always come in here, click the override button. Alright, so that one's done. So we'll move over to Charlie. And I'm doing a little experiment here. I actually haven't tested this before. I'm going to see if you can leave the SAM authoring window open when you move and see if it will leave it open. This will speed things up a little bit. Alright, so there we are. Good. Alright, so it's still in position. Fantastic. So back into WED, right? So HAS is located at 85011. So come back in here, look for 85011. There it is, right there. So this one is HAS. There he is. There's our marshaller. Turn off. Save. And change the location again. And we're going to go over here to number 11. Confirm. Restart. Start. There we go. This is Marshaller Joe. So we're going to come down here. We're going to call this guy Joe. Notice that it's filling in the last ID that I did. Just don't get confused. Be sure you go and change it, because if you don't, there's Joe appearing there. Override off. Save. Back. And that's it. We now have all of our marshallers that we have programmed. So don't forget, unique names for everybody. So you just gotta remember where their latitude and longitude numbers are. Give them a unique name also, so you can quickly go in there and set those up as well. So I've spent 5 minutes ranting about static aircraft. And that's pretty much all we need to talk about when it comes to setting up AutoGate or SAM. It's up to you to decide which one you want to do. And hopefully this tutorial will help you guys out, and you will be able to AutoGate attached to them, because there's quite a few airports that still need this kind of treatment. And it's sad that I have a bunch of payware airports that I have to go and do this to. In France, all the France VFR airports that they released to the X-Plane community, very nice quality airports, by the way. All their gateways are static, so I'm having to rip them out and put in my own SAM. And as long as the airport developers made the jetways a separated object, Designs did this, they made these separated objects, you're good to go. Because I know some developers, and of course, disassemble the airport, which, you know, I hate it when they do that. You can still do it, but it's going to require you to go into Blender and knock out their gates. And at that point, I am not going through that much trouble. So what I would rather do is send a notice to the developer saying, hey, can you please add AutoGate or SAM to your airport, because I just paid $24 to $30 for your airport and nothing on the airport is actually moving. So I would appreciate it if you do that. Entertaining, useful, and you'll be able to go out and start generating your SAM airports. Put it in the tutorial section and it'll be there as an archive for life. So if you guys get lost at a part and you need to go back and reference it, you'll be able to do that tomorrow. For that, and this will be the definitive go-to now for one, and we'll talk to you again later.